All right, so welcome to our monthly Community Coalition meeting. I'm Tracy Parsons. I am the facilitator of this wonderful group. Thank you, everyone, for making it out to this meeting. So let's give everybody a round of applause. Say thank you. Get our blood flowing a little bit. All right, so we like to start our meetings off with a little good news. We deal with tough subjects a lot of times, and so I know Yolanda's starting us off. Ashley, if we want to give her the mic, and she's got good news for us.
Hello again. May is the month for Children's Mental Health Awareness, and so we like everyone to be aware and be accepting of people with mental health, to understand what mental health is about, how you can provide support to everyone that, or anyone who has any mental health challenges, and just to learn more about mental health. Now, we all struggle with something, so I have an infographic that you guys can take back to your office with Tracy's suggestion, because I really like people to wear ribbons and bracelets during this month. I'm gonna pass this basket around, and you guys can take one or more to put in your office and to give to your friends or people you know. Thank you, that's it.
Great job.
Any other good news, things to share that's happened since we last met last month? Got two.
A real quick one is last weekend in Springfield we had a big conference on social society building and new norms based on trustworthiness, thought, and forbearance. And we traced the communities of Champaign-Urbana from 2015 with the implementation of racial taboo until now to look at the growth of the changes in this community. It was really astounding. Thank you all.
I wanted to share that next week we're going to be celebrating approximately 40 Urbana High School students in the first year of the Mayoral Recognition Program. So this program recognizes students who have put in anywhere between 30 and 100 hours of volunteer service over the past school year. And they work with a teacher mentor, and this is strongly supported by in addition to myself, Superintendent Ivory Tatum and Principal Nance. So they will be recognized at the honors ceremony next week. And this will be an annual program.
All right, great news, great news. All right, one more, do we have one more? Going, all right.
Champaign-Urbana Schools Foundation is giving away about $50,000 in scholarships for students that are not only going on to college, but also their careers that are non-college track. So we'll be doing that in the next couple weeks at the same honors ceremony. So thanks for your support.
Yes, we got one more, Tracy.
Just wanted to highlight the Champaign Rotary Action Auction is happening next Friday night, May 20th. If there is any interest in tickets, Rotary Action Auction is every 3-year fundraiser that supports many of the organizations in the room. They'll raise somewhere in the $200,000 range to support nonprofits in Champaign County. So tickets are on sale. You can go to the Rotary Action Auction website or the Champaign Rotary. So just a plug for that.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Okay, so we're going to move on with the agenda. So again, those of you here for the first time, our coalition meetings are great spaces to learn about great programs, activities, the work that individuals and groups and collaborations that are taking place across the community. It's also a place that we talk a lot about what organizations are doing to address our community's most difficult social and economic issues. We have 5 priority areas. One is addressing, improving, working, and supporting improving police-community relations. 2 is community engagement, which really talks about how, as governmental organizations and entities, we get out of our spaces to get out into the community, into our neighborhoods, for stronger partnership, collaboration, and engagement. 3 is youth development, where we And then you can't find it, Barbara. All right. I shouldn't use the mic to call people out either, should I? All right. So third is youth development. And so we know the importance of really connecting our young people. I've said often that I'm really, really concerned coming out of the pandemic, what impact that has had on our youth. And so youth development. Our fourth is community violence. And then our fifth is what we call mutual advocacy. So when you have an organization like the Coalition and you hear and see everyone from across the community, people always say, you guys should be doing this. Why are you not doing this? And so mutual advocacy is the area where we support other organizations and entities in the community that are doing great work. So one of the things I use an example is the homeless situation. Very significant, huge issue in our community. Well, we have a number of groups working on the homeless issue. So why should the Coalition duplicate, take on something that's already happening? So we have our mutual advocacy area where we're supporting the work of organizations throughout the community. So I just wanted to share that to give you a little bit more about who we are and what we're doing and what this space is for. So a couple of months ago, you probably heard about some work that the city of Champaign is taking on and doing. And I think in December, the city council approved a whole plan to strengthen equity and engagement in the city of Champaign. So we've created an equity and engagement department. We've been trying to get her here for a few months. It's the first time her schedule has allowed it. So I'm going to introduce Rachel Joy, the new Director, Equity and Engagement Director for the City of Champaign.
Tracy, the hype man, like really? Good afternoon, everyone. I am Rachel Joy. I am the new Director of the Equity and Engagement Department. I've been telling people I am a couple of months old. We are really in our infancy, literally. Just want to talk a little bit about, we have 3 divisions, and we have a diversity, equity, and inclusion division that is housed under the Equity and Engagement Department. Mary Catherine Roberson, who you know in other areas, is now serving as the acting community relations manager for that division. So I'm very pleased to see what she'll be doing in that role. That really houses our human rights work and then other areas that we'll be able to expand. Another division is the community outreach and engagement work, and so a lot of the work that is being done through the Coalition, and Tracy Parsons is over that division, so he'll be doing a lot of other initiatives and working with all of you collectively. We also have added, and we will have another community relations specialist, so we're in the process of hiring that individual right now. And then we have a third division, and I'm gonna let our new person come up and talk a little bit about that. So you've heard a lot about the blueprint and what we plan on doing as it relates to community gun violence, and really about the council saying, we're gonna institutionalize this work. It won't just be an initiative. It won't just be for a short amount of time. It will be a division. It will be a part of the city infrastructure. So that's really what this department is built on. And we are excited about it. Again, it is very new. And so just like any infant, there will be tears and there will be moments of joy. So we just ask that you are supportive of us and the work that we'll be doing. We'll be working with all of you as we look at various levels of collaboration. Many of our partners are here today from the blueprint. And we're looking forward to getting that piece really moving. I do want to introduce our new community relations manager for the Community Safety and Justice Division. He started on Monday, Jorge Elvir, and I'm gonna let him talk a little bit about what his role will be. This is a huge role. This is my first new hire, so a lot riding on this, Jorge. But very excited to have him, his passion, his experience, and we are just hitting the ground moving, and he is just going to do amazing things with all of you and all of our partners. So I want to give Jorge an opportunity to talk a little bit about his role.
Thank you, Rachel. She was talking about Tracy and his hype. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jorge Elvir. I am humbled and pleasured to be working for the city and for the county with everyone under this division. I think that Rachel and Tracy said it best. You know, we're going to be working about implementing the blueprint, community safety and justice division, working with our partners. I know there's a lot of partners in here. You know, over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be calling individuals to meet with them on a one-on-one basis, and then we're going to sit down and collaborate together as well to see how we can together have an impact on gun violence and you know, other things within our community. So, talking about infancy, she's got months, I got 3 days, so I'm still at the hospital, right? I'm still learning right now. So please reach out to me if you have any ideas or any concerns. I know that there's a lot of individuals that are already working on a lot of things. So let's get together, let's communicate, let's partner, and let's work together instead of working in silos. So that's all I got.
So welcome, Jorge and Rachel. You guys did notice when we did the introductions, the only two to not stand was those two, right? All right, so that was supposed to be funny. It didn't work, did it? All right, so I'm going to ask my law enforcement partners to come on up. And again, those of you here for the first time, we are full partners with law enforcement here through the coalition. Each month, we have an opportunity for our law enforcement leadership to come up and provide an update on activities in their departments and in the cities. And so, looks like Rich Searles is going first.
Just making sure this is on. Thank you. I've got 4 things I'd like to talk about today, real quick. The first thing is the status of the police chief search for the city of Urbana. The city of Urbana has engaged with multiple recruiting firms, and we are hopefully going to be selecting a firm in the fairly near future. And then from there, a timeline will be published as to what that search process looks like. That's the first thing. The second thing is, since I was last here, which was the March meeting, we made an additional arrest and a homicide. That was the Lyft case that people often refer to down on South Vine in Urbana. A young man was arrested in Georgia and brought back. The third thing is, since the March meeting, we've had 9 shootings in the city of Urbana, and since the April meeting, we've only had 3. Which is a bit of a change of pace for us. I went back and looked at some of the numbers. Bryant Seraphin always used to talk about the average number of days per shooting, and we ended the year 2021 at about 3.2 days per shooting, and right now, fingers crossed, we're at 5.9. So we're trending the correct direction. The last thing that I'd like to talk about, and I hope that I'm stealing the thunder of the other chiefs up here, is there is a recruiting fair. There is a recruiting fair on July the 9th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Parkland College for basically anything related to first responders, paramedics, firefighters, police officers, you name it. Everyone is hiring. If you know somebody that is interested in being a first responder, this is a fantastic opportunity. I will leave a couple flyers up here. Please come take them. Everyone right here is hiring. I assure you of that. So that is all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, seeing none, Jeff's up.
Thanks, Rich. Again, my name is Jeff Kuhn. I'm the Interim Deputy Chief of Operational Support, Champaign Police Department. Kind of like Urbana, we just went through a chief search. So if you've read the paper, watched the news, you've heard that Timothy Tyler is going to start with us on Monday, June 6th. He comes from the Illinois State Police. Specifically, he is the Chief of Police for the Illinois Department of Natural Resources Office of Law Enforcement. He's been an officer for 29 years, 22 with the Illinois State Police. He's also in the reserves. He's a colonel in the U.S. Army Reserves with the military police, a logistician, and a finance officer. Very energetic. I've met with him on several times. Seems like a real good guy. I hope that he connects with a lot of people here in the room and things move forward on that. So I'm glad to be done with that process, and I'm curious to see what the future holds. Just a little update on recruitment, like Rich was referring to. We've all read about Champaign police and staffing issues that we've had, but I want to talk a little bit about the positives. We've hired 9 officers this year. 5 just started the academy on Monday. We have 3 going through medical and psychological exam process right now. So hopefully they'll move forward and be in the September class. We're also doing a background investigation on an experienced officer as well. Just some things of note that we've had going on. The downtown security contract with AGB, I'm sure you saw where that passed. We're hoping to get that started on May 26th. We have some meetings coming up with some downtown business district stakeholders. ALPRs, I'm going to tell you a little bit, just briefly touch on that. I'm sure you've read about it or saw in the news as well, but the things that ALPRs does not do: speeding enforcement, red light traffic, no video, it's still shots, it stays for 30 days. It won't be used for minor traffic enforcement violations. This schematic here, I'd love to take credit for it. This is Joe Lamberson, our PIO. It's going to go out on social media. It's a nice one-stop shop, so you don't have to read a report to council. It'll tell you all about ALPRs and what to expect. It'll be out on our social media hopefully this evening. Is that right, Joe? All right, good deal. So sorry to put him on the spot there, but you probably read about the campus service agreement, obviously, with U of I. I know Chief Carey will talk about that, but that's set to commence on October 1st. And if you're wondering about the coverage area, it'll be Springfield to the north, Windsor to the south, Wright Street to the east, and Neal Street to the west. A 2-year agreement for now, so we'll see how that goes. We're optimistic and looking forward to working more exclusively with UIPD. I know there's a lot of people here about gun violence, so I want to talk just a little bit about some numbers with that. I wasn't at the last meeting. I apologize. I'm here for Chief Petrilli today. But we've had 50 shooting incidents this year. We've had 2 homicides. Only 1 was gun-related, both resulting in an arrest in those circumstances. Just to give you a little update, too, on some stats, our Street Crimes Task Force, which is multi-jurisdictional, they got 9 firearms last month, and also a couple gun-related arrests. And I talked to our EMT this morning, so city manager and some other department heads, and I just gave them a little bit of an update on some things that we were doing. I know you probably saw where we had the downtown shots fired on April 16th. Just to bring you up to speed on that, I talked to the case agent. Search warrant was executed related to that, based a lot on the video that we received, thankfully, and we should anticipate an arrest warrant forthcoming in the very near future. So that's my update. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm sorry. All right, I'm going to turn to Chief Carey.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to report I haven't a lot of updates, but we have created a new position. It's called the Community Service Officer position, which is an unarmed law enforcement personnel that will help assist our police officers in responding to low-level calls for service. So that's going to kind of amplify what we do as far as our service-related procedure. And with that kind of segues into what we're doing with Campus Town, and we're taking the time over the summer to prepare our procedure for that and working cooperatively with Champaign. We have moved into our substation at 505 East Green Street, so you'll probably see police cars over there. We don't want it to be a gathering place for our officers, but that's part of it is visibility and availability for an additional resource down on Green Street. We're happy to note that students are graduating and slowly moving off campus with graduation on Saturday the 14th. For that, we're going to just prepare for Campus Town and get that up and running. So we, without Campus Town, we have 0 openings, which is always a good thing. So with the additional resources with Campus Town, we have 7, but we've hired 2 that are into the academy, and so we're going to be working on supplementing our force with hires over the summer. And one last thing is the Social Worker Academy is going to kick off at the end of this month, so that is full. And with those that have read the legislation on the co-responder model and the governor signing that legislation, providing funding for certain areas in Peoria and Springfield. That's kind of a pilot program for perhaps additional funding for co-responder models, something similar to what we have been implemented in August. So that's good news. And that's about it.
Hello, I'm Troy Daniels. I'm the new Parkland Police Chief. I started on April 21st. I was fortunate to spend 24 years with the City of Champaign and their police department, and then about 9 years with the Champaign County Sheriff's Office before that. So this is my 35th year in law enforcement. I started when I was 6 years old. And I am very pleased to report that the Parkland Police Department is in excellent shape, and very thankful that I get to work there. I feel blessed to. I love the culture of the college, and actually went there initially and got my associate's degree from there, so it's good to come back there. Tomorrow evening is our commencement at Cranert. Also happy to report that we have a brand new officer that started. Her name is Jessica Alvarez. She's a Spanish speaker, got some police experience, corrections experience, and court security experience, so very experienced, and she started at Parkland, and no, you can't steal her. So very glad that she's there. Also, I was fortunate to be working with the City of Champaign when the Community Coalition started, and it does my heart good to see this powerful organization, what it's grown to be and what it's accomplished, and I'm very much looking forward to working with you.
So you
Push this hard.
Yeah, so what I need you to do, wait. So our back table back there is our information space.
Oh, no.
And
This
if you-
deserves a spot up front, Tracy.
You want to trust me with it?
Absolutely.
All right. The table for information is back there, so when you bring flyers to the meeting and you want information to share, Interim Chief Searles. There's always one, right? That, challenges, pushes the envelope on everything. So, hey, this is our normal meeting space. We meet here monthly at this hotel, but for the next 2 months, June and July, we will be in Urbana at the Radisson Hotel on Killarney. That used to be the Holiday Inn for a number of years. So for June and July, we'll be in Urbana at the Radisson Hotel. So I know a number of you just get in your cars and it automatically comes here. So we'll make sure we keep sending you the notices to make sure, and please pass the word to others in your organization that we'll be at the Radisson Hotel in June and July. Still 3:30. We also have what we call our summer initiatives. This is a partnership with the Coalition and the Boys and Girls Club and the Champaign County Mental Health Board. This is where we're looking for special projects for the summer for our youth. So now is the time. If you've got a special project, you know of someone who's working with young people. You've heard me mention, again, I'm really concerned about the amount of academic time our youth have missed. So we're looking for special projects that's going to be focusing on academics. And get us a one-pager about what you want to do and what you're looking to do in the community. And we're wanting them. So now is the time to get that in. So I wanted to share that with you. Each year we get about a little more than $100,000 from the Champaign County Mental Health Board for these projects. So wanted to share that with you. Okay. So next we want to bring up our friends from the Champaign County Housing Authority, and they're going to talk to us about youth bills. So we have Joby and Siobhan here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to speak to you about our Youth Build program at the Housing Authority of Champaign County. Okay, so Youth Build is for you if you're age 16 to 24 and you haven't completed your high school because of dropping out or are currently in an alternative education program. We're also looking for students that are experiencing unique life situations that may create barriers to finishing school. So youth offenders, youth with disability, so on and so forth. If traditional education hasn't worked for you, you are a hands-on learner, committed to learning, looking for a technical, trade, or service-driven, and employment opportunities. Okay, a little bit about our grant. We are a Department of Labor funded grant, and I'm also proud to say that we received $1.5 million for our second run of funding. Our program operates on 40 months. We get a 4-month planning period. There's 24 months of program delivery in which we run 2 cohorts a year, one in January and one in the summer, each followed by a graduation. And then kind of the bonus of our program is that it's not over just there. Each cohort has a follow-up period of a year where we keep in contact with them and make sure that they still have everything that they need. Okay? Again, we're servicing population 16 to 24 with basic education and career skills training. Okay, the Housing Authority as an entity has a vested interest in making sure that we're able to have things set up to sustain the Youth Build program. So that's through the Section 3 policy. Our agency is a move to work agency which has flexibility, and we're looking for community support and also any other grant funding. And what do we need from the community? Policies to change and to support Youth Build. Okay, so how did Youth Build come about? Well, according to the 2015 U.S. Census, the population of Champaign County was 201,081. Okay, there were 90,000 houses approximately in Champaign County, of which 9,000 approximately were vacant. So the Housing Authority thought what would be better than to invest in a Youth Build program, which is construction related, to go in and help to turn over some of those properties and make them, viable in the community. So we're also looking for housing development partners. Okay, so in preparation for each one of our cohorts, we host a mental toughness period. So this is kind of like an acclimation period where students come in like a boot camp, and we're looking to see are they, a good fit for our program, and vice versa. Okay, so this is not necessarily saying that you enter the program, but just kind of a test to see if that'll work for us. And then we're always open, if this isn't the right cohort for you again, to get the skills and the knowledge so that you can come back and reapply to be in the program. Our summer cohort is coming up, so our mental toughness period will be June 20th through July 1st at the Housing Authority main office from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. So what does Youth Build look like? We are 50% education, 40% hands-on job training, and 10% leadership development. So education. Our students will earn an accredited high school diploma through our program. We are partnered with Penn Foster, which is an online self-paced high school diploma program. We also have tutoring and mentoring and on-site teachers and instruction and tutors to help our students to earn their high school diploma. We're proud to say that we have a 90% success rate with our students that go through our program and earn their high school diploma. And you will need 21.5 credits to get through, and previous credits are transferable. However, we have plenty of students that come to our program that have no credits and still graduate within that 6-month cohort, so it's not impossible. We also have a Construction Plus component of our program. So in this, students can earn other certifications. So we have an information technology IT where the students go through Penn Foster after they've graduated, and they can earn an IT certification. And then the Housing Authority itself is a job service provider where students can come and intern. We also have a partnership with OSF Hospital for students that are interested in healthcare, and then we are definitely looking for partners to satisfy the hotel and restaurant management certification, which the Penn Foster offers a certificate for students in that area as well. Okay, so the biggest component of our program, that 40%, is the construction training. So students receive classroom-based construction training. They earn their OSHA 10 certification as well as NCCER certification. And they work on, so here's an example of a scattered site house that's through the Housing Authority of Champaign County. And so it's rehabbed for project-based voucher use, and it's a partnership with Carl and the Housing Authority. So We're trying to figure out how to break down barriers to success, which some could be failure, managing time, accountability, opinion versus facts, all of these things that stop students from perhaps having the best success traditionally. And so what do we have? High school diploma, post-secondary scholarships, career placement, child care assistance, transportation. We offer students a weekly stipend, opportunity for housing assistance upon completion of a program. So we have 5 vouchers through the Housing Authority that students that graduate our program who meet all the that satisfy all the requirements of our program can be eligible to receive a Section 8 voucher for housing. We have the 1-year follow-up supportive services, and we also have a transitional house for students that need temporary housing. And then we also are proud of our Bright Futures Internship program. This is where graduates of our program can earn an intern spot at the Housing Authority of Champaign. So sometimes our students will graduate, and then they'll go and work at, we have a student working at the front desk or out in maintenance, and it's a nice opportunity to go straight into employment after graduating our program. So we have case management, and this person works on recruiting and counseling and the oversight of the educational components, intake assessments. We also focus on career placement, networking in the public and the private sector to develop career opportunities for our youth, plan and organize job searching, and organize career exploration and motivation activities. So Youth Build needs wraparound supportive service. Okay, so we are always looking for tutors, employment partners, counseling and mental health service providers is a huge need for our students. Child care partners, tuition assistant, financial support, healthcare, mentors, and community service partnerships. And then I'll let Joby speak on this.
So we have our program information, which will be next week. So on May 18th next week, I have 2 time slots for individuals that may work in the evening. We have a time slot in the morning where they can come from 11 to 1 to get information about the Youth Build program and our next cohort coming up. And then we have an evening slot between 5 and 7 for in the evening for the same information. So like she said, the criteria is from 16 to 24. We're looking for low-income individuals, people that reside here in Champaign County, and as long as they have a willingness to learn, they'll be okay. That's it? Oh. Just gave me one slide. You had all them slides?
So we're also looking to kind of a nod to you guys earlier that said your program was in infancy stages. We're toddlers because we're in our 2nd round now. So we're wanting to branch out beyond just Youth Build in the classroom sense at the Housing Authority. So we are recently working on a partnership with the Champaign County Satellite Jail to offer programming for inmates there. So there will be some of the NCCR certifications that can be done by paper and pencil and submitted. So we're very excited to hopefully get that off the ground this summer. So thank you for joining us today, and we're open and available and look forward to working with you guys in the community, and we appreciate your time. Questions?
We have a question. All right, so Joby, it's not the number of slides, it's the most important slide, right? So next week they're looking for students. The Housing Authority, I just want to congratulate, I want to give them another round of applause for this. They are working with a very difficult population of young folks, many and often who folks have given up on, and they've been able, I think they shared the 90% success rate. They are a Blueprint partner. So part of our ARPA funds and our Blueprint is a little more than $100,000, right around $100,000 we're given to support this work, right? So, all right. Okay, so Abby's gonna come up. So we have what we call Walk as One. This is where, as a community, we've get out into neighborhoods in the community to promote collaboration, partnership, working together. We have specific educational things that we want to do. We used to go on campus ahead of unofficial, but we did such a great job with unofficial, it's not even an issue anymore, right? So we go on and do education for students. So Abby's going to talk about our Walk as One event tomorrow.
Awesome. I gotta take my hat off to you guys real quick. I know a couple of teen mom friends who have benefited greatly from the Youth Build program, so thank you so much. It's a great place. So these guys talked about 16 to 24. Now I'm going to talk about the little ones. For those of you who were here last month, this is going to be a little bit of an instant replay. But years ago, when we started the CU Cradle to Career nonprofit or consortium, there was a kindergarten readiness goal team as a part of that. That is now under the umbrella of the United Way, and that's continued to meet every month. And so one way, if you have somebody in your organization that would like to be a part of that kindergarten readiness program, like Charles, I'm thinking it would be awesome to have somebody from the Boys and Girls Club in that group. Please let me know at the end of the meeting. I had to run out last time, so I'll stick around this time. That's one way to help with kindergarten readiness. The next way, for years, we talked about a community awareness campaign for early childhood education, and that is what we are doing. It's called Read, Talk, Play Every Day, and we're trying to hit folks in all directions. If you are on the bus this month, you'll see some bus cards that lead people to our website. That is readtalkplay.org, and that is a place where parents, any child care provider can go to get all kinds of great ideas on things to do with your kids. We talked about last month that about between 80 and 90%, depending on the statistics you look at, 80 to 90% of the brain is developed by kindergarten. So those years from, 0 or before to 5 are so incredibly important. And it doesn't take hours and hours and hours, and you don't have to have an education degree. You can just be a mom or a dad or a grandma or a grandpa or a babysitter to make a difference so that when your child gets to kindergarten, they are ready to learn and ready to succeed. So excited about that possibility. So the big piece this week of our Read, Talk, Play campaign is a Walk as One, a collaboration between the Community Coalition and the United Way. When you were introducing yourselves, I recognized lots of names that are already signed up to walk tomorrow night. We'll be walking in some neighborhoods in Champaign, in Urbana, and Rantoul. The meeting place in Champaign is the DSC office. The meeting place in Urbana is Salt and Light. And the meeting place in Rantoul, why do I forget that name? Hope Meadows. If you haven't signed up for the walk, just come. 5 o'clock at one of those places. Don't come to Champaign. We are packed with volunteers in Champaign. So people who want to walk in Urbana and Rantoul, we need you. We've got all kinds of little kids in those two towns that are not getting the kinds of resources that we want them to get. So just show up at Hope Meadows or Salt and Light. We'll have a t-shirt for you and bags. You'll team up with probably about 5 or 6 people and go out into some of the neighborhoods asking if they have young children in their lives and if they could use some help with some fun new ideas. We'll give them a bag of all kinds of goodies, books and crayons and all kinds of stuff. The other way that you could help me tonight at 6 o'clock. I've got some Mount Zion friends, church friends, coming to help at the United Way office, helping me stuff the bags. I still have about 300 of them left to stuff. So if you want pizza and some homemade chocolate chip cookies, come to the United Way at 6 o'clock, around back under the awning, the door under the awning, and you can help stuff bags. I, again, will stick around afterwards if you've got any questions or any ideas. We hope that this Read, Talk, Play every day will just be a movement that keeps on going for years and years to come, with things like books on buses and laundromat libraries and all kinds of ways where we can get to kids early. So thanks, everyone.
So thanks, Abby. It's really important work. I love the collaboration. I love the importance of getting the information out. Back in another life doing some work, I very early learned one of the biggest difference between kids ready to participate in kindergarten or not is their vocabulary. And when I heard the statistics that kids who are not prepared enter kindergarten with a vocabulary about 200 words. Kids who are better prepared, where they've been in spaces where folks have read to them and did some of the work that Abby's talking about, they come with a vocabulary of about 1,200 words. So that lets you know just how far behind they start, and it's very difficult to get them catched up. So this is important work for our community, and I hope you get involved. I hope you share. If it's not tomorrow during the walk, you go to the website and figure out what Read, Talk, and Play is doing and get yourselves and your organizations involved. All right, talking about schools, we're going to bring Dr. James Harden here from Unit 4 Schools to share some things about Unit 4. All right.
Thank you so much for having me this evening. I come from Champaign Unit 4 School District. Each morning, right, Monday through Friday, approximately 10,000 students enter into our schools. And of that 10,000, I would say 9,700 or so have never, ever, ever done anything except be exceptional students with amazing potential. Every now and then we do have some students that need a little bit of extra help, and we educators are there to love them and to help them and to guide them. And we appreciate, as a school district and on behalf of the school district, we appreciate all that you all do as community partners to assist us in educating children. So thank you so much for all that it is that you do for Champaign Unit 4, and I probably feel safe saying for any other school district or school that's around this area and community. Thank you all very much. But the first thing that we want all of our families to do is register our students for school. Register your students for school. So please tell somebody to tell somebody from all the different organizations that you represent that student registration is happening. Certainly it's happening in Champaign School District, but I'm sure the other school districts will be saying the same things as well. So for Champaign, if you have any specific concerns or questions, you can email us here. There's a code, and somehow 217-351 Champaign Unit 4 School District is not the correct phone number. I would try 217-351-3700. I would try that instead. But if you want to dial that, then that's totally up to you. I apologize for any typo that's on here and another slide, I believe. But student registration is one big thing that's in our world right now. So please tell someone to tell somebody that that is happening. Another thing, and I know no one else has open positions in this community. I know no one else is seeing that, but Champaign School District right now, we have open positions. We're hiring for all kinds of things. We have amazing, amazing teachers and principals and support staff and all of these clerical tutors. We have amazing people. We need more amazing people. And not just from a full-time position. If you know someone or are interested in doing some part-time work or assisting in that regard, please, please, please give us a call or scan that code or email anyone at the school district. We will be happy to assist you. We need more phenomenal people. And I'm sure you know phenomenal people. Rock stars tend to know rock stars. So please tell some rock stars that we too are hiring. Also, one thing that's really cool and important, and it's right on target with what's happening in our world today, not only is today National School Nurse Day, today is also, we are also in Champaign talking about children's mental health and the mental health of our staff as well. So we have recently partnered with Care Solace. It's an organization, or not even an organization, excuse me, not so much an organization. It is it's a service provider that serves as a conduit to assist us in finding mental health supports for our staff, our students, our families, because what we have found is that there's a pretty good waiting list sometime to get mental health supports. So this organization assists us by serving as a conduit. We have not rolled this service out just yet. This is fresh off the press. Our board approved it Monday night at our board meeting. So, but we have been in touch with lots of school districts that use Care Solace, and they have lots of great reviews and lots of thumbs up. So this is something we'll be rolling out, and something that I'm happy to share data on with this organization or this group anytime anyone is interested. It's not a secret. Of course, we will not share names or any personal information, but just how things are going and how many people we are able to serve. And the only other thing happening in our, well, not the only other thing happening in our world, but the last thing that I want to share with you all is we're doing something really cool on August 9th, 2022, not 2023. Tracy, I don't know why you changed that on me, but please just leave my slides alone next time. I'm teasing, of course. August 9th, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Marketplace Mall, we're doing an event we call Ready to Learn 2022. What is that? I'm glad you asked. What we are doing is, instead of the way that things have been done from a traditional perspective here, where families go to different organizations or they go to different events at the parks or at different churches or what have you, and they receive school supplies from different places, we are trying to centralize that process. Not saying that things will not be happening at the parks and churches and other places, because Unit 4 will be in those places helping families there, but we want to centralize things. So we've asked many of our partners, many of you whom I've sat in Zoom calls with or other places, we've asked that, one organization buy one thing. So for example, maybe the Hardin Foundation is going to buy the scissors, and the Hardin Foundation is going to buy 3,000 pairs of scissors, and the Parsons Foundation is going to buy glue sticks, and they're going to buy 3,000 glue sticks. And all the different foundations or whomever organizations are going to buy one item. And then we're going to ask everyone to come to the mall on August 9th. And we will have tables set around the mall with tables for all of our different schools, all 20 of our schools, as well as many community partners as we can squeeze in there. And families come in, they get a card saying, hey, you have a fourth grader. Hey, welcome, Miss Smith. Here's your card for the fourth grade. And Miss Smith and her children go around from table to table, and they get the fourth grade supplies, and their card gets punched. And once your card has been punched, you then can go to our registration if you haven't registered your students, or Carl Hospital their mobile unit, I believe, will be coming out. We've been having some deep conversations about that. And I don't want to call one community partner out, I should not have, but lots of community partners will be there helping out, providing services, providing, little squish toys or swag or ink pen or something to promote your, whatever tchotchke you want to bring. We are certainly happy to have you fill bags. And it's going to be an amazing, amazing event. It's going to be our first time doing it. Our goal is to reach as many people as possible. Not that we don't want to over-resource anyone, but sometimes, one person goes around to all the things and they collect resources, and it's like, we just want to punch your card and make sure you have what you need. The other thing that happens with this sometimes, you all, is non-educators don't necessarily understand that all supplies aren't good supplies, right? Mike, what's the name of those crayons? Crayola, something like that. There's some type of a crayon that they just don't color. Right? Some of you teachers would know, like Crayola, it has to be Crayola, or the Fiskar scissors, right? The kinds with the blunt edges on it. There's certain supplies that we need, even though you may be a do-gooder and buy some things we just simply can't use. And that's not to be all persnickety about what we receive. That's just being honest about what we need and what the children need. So more information will be coming. I'll be sending out to all the community partners, and I will provide as much information as I possibly can about how you and your organization can be involved. Any questions? Questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So yes, what we have done is, and we'll be rolling all this out through Facebook and other media sources, and we have listed what each grade will need and what we're asking people to buy. So, if somebody comes through with a first grade punch card, they're going to get the first grade stuff. High school students are not going to need crayons and other things. And it's not going to be 100% of the supplies. It's going to be as many supplies as we can give. I wish we could supply every student with a graphic calculator, the Texas Instrument TI-84. That is not going to be a realistic ask of us.
Okay, it's me.
I mean,
I know you were probably going to say this anyway, but I just want a quick reminder. This room is full of people who are going to pass out information that you're talking about. But we don't want to forget our daycare centers, our after-school programs, and our nursery schools, because that's a captured audience there. So make sure that you get your flyers out to those people, because they're not necessarily the people who are going to be on the computers or do things. You know what I'm talking about. So, okay, just from one teacher to many teachers, it's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. I will make sure that I personally and my team work to get them in every location that you mentioned and beyond. Any other questions that I can address? Again, I appreciate and thank you all for all the ways and all the things that you do to support our teachers, our staffs, and our students and our families. Thank you.
All right, so we have a race relations committee that's been doing some very intentional work, and Joycelyn's going to come forward to talk about a film that we showed, Open Wounds. And Joycelyn, please come on up.
If you were here last month, we mentioned that we had shown the Open Wounds documentary, and this is I'll talk a little bit more about it. The Race Relations Subcommittee, basically in collaboration with the Race Relations Subcommittee and the United Way of Champaign County, we offered a 40-minute Open Wounds. It was a documentary that the CU Tri had shown the year before. United Way still had the contract, so we were able to make that available to the community mid-February through March at no cost. And it's basically, the documentary is Phil Allen Jr. told the story of the death of his grandfather, Nate Allen, in 1953 in Georgetown, South Carolina, and the film examines the intergenerational trauma and the generations of one family due to racial violence. So some of the participants, basically, we estimated about 250 to 275 viewings occurred, and it was a mix of individuals and some groups. And some of the groups included, like the United Way, the Developmental Services Center, Urbana Rotary, Human Development and Family Studies, the Land of Lincoln Legal Assistance, and just recently the League of Women Voters also participated. We also had workplaces and organizations that promoted the film that resulted in a lot of multiple signups, like PACE, Carl Community Health Initiative, CCRPC, Head Start, Mental Health Board, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and Community Choices. So basically the method that we used, the individuals and groups were invited to register for specific days and times. We had a sign-up genius that people used to sign up for the time and date that worked best for them. If they were a group or organization, they also made arrangements to set the days and times, which is why, for example, the League of Women Voters happened a little bit later. So prior to viewing, we were trying to make a decision about how to help our participants be able to process the film. So we sent registrants self-guided questions and ground rules for group discussions, because we wanted to give people as many options as possible to be able to view this. If they were part of a group, we wanted them to be able to process it that way. And overall, about 64.87% found the reflective questions to be extremely or very helpful. And I decided to break it down a little bit because, and on the next slide you'll see, but prior to that, basically, then we also gave a post-viewing survey, which had 7 questions. And it was sent only to those who signed up as individuals or group leaders, resulting in 37 responses. And we only have time today to touch on some things, and I realize that there's other things on the agenda, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. These are the questions that we asked. There were 7 questions. We were really trying to understand what people's experiences were, and so I wanted to include that question number 2, how helpful were the reflection questions in processing the film content, because we weren't sure that this procedure was going to work. So we wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to be thoughtful about what they were seeing and learning more. And so there are other questions up there, and we're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about it. So basically, in terms of their response to the film, we wanted some open-ended kind of things. So there were words like powerful, dramatic, raw, and enlightening that were repeated over and over again. And you'll see I decided to get a little fancy and made a little word cloud. And also one of the specific comments was the video was so powerful, it sparked the ability to self-reflect on actual experiences of individuals and families as they have been impacted from generational discrimination. Another point was made, the film was deep and made me more aware of the impact of structural racism in America. And last on this question, and there were 37 responses, so we only selected a few. I was interested to see how trauma in one generation affected parenting moving forward. So the question 1, basically, this is my little word cloud that I decided to play around with. As you can see, powerful came up, and it depends on also if you do a word cloud like the capitalization, things like that. So you probably see powerful in there a couple of different times. So anyway, that's just a visual. I like visuals. So question 2 is how helpful were the reflection questions? And this pie chart may not be as easy to read because of the colors in the slides. However, I was very happy that most people thought that they were extremely helpful. So then that gives us a guide that in the future, if we want to have some kind of film screening, that we can also then provide some self-guided questions so that people can work through as individuals or groups to understand and process the information. So the next question that we asked was, how helpful was the film in providing a deeper understanding of intergenerational trauma? As I mentioned when I introduced myself, you probably don't remember, I work for Champaign-Urbana Trauma Resiliency Initiative as a wisdom leader. So I'm very much interested in what people understand and know about intergenerational trauma and trauma in general. So we were the answer were people, trying to go too fast because I know we've got other people that need to speak. Okay, so about 48% said that it was extremely helpful, and 34% said it was very helpful, and 2.7% said it was not so helpful, and 0 people said that it was not at all helpful. So I think that showed that people really did get something in terms of understanding intergenerational trauma, which we had hoped would be the case. So question 4 was, what did you learn or relearn about intergenerational trauma? These are some selected responses that we have, and one response was how overwhelming experiencing trauma can be for all family members. Another one, how hard it is to break the cycle of trauma. If you are a service provider or educator in the room, you probably understand that these are some of the issues you may be dealing with. And those raised in a traumatic environment grow up without having or being able to learn the coping skills to deal with abuse, alcoholism, neglect, and sometimes the departure of a parent. So this leads itself to some coping skills that I think a lot of our agencies are trying to develop for people. And the last point on this question was, the trauma one person affects many generations through the years. Often people don't realize that they're affected by it. Question 5 was, how helpful was the film for you in evaluating any trauma you may carry in your body? I don't think this question was a very good question because basically it was pretty much, the highest one was very helpful at 27%, and most of the other ones were 24%. So that would be a question that probably next time we would throw out if we were going to offer this. But I think this also lends itself to understanding that a lot of times we don't even know where we are carrying the trauma. Some people may have headaches, some people may have psychosomatic illnesses or different kinds of things. So it's not clear. I don't think a lot of people have really tuned into their body enough. So we'd like you to think about that some as you're doing your work in the community. Question 6 is, what are some examples of support and resilience you have relied upon to help you in the past? This is a question we really want to see what people were doing. So some of the examples were talking with someone helped me to unpack my experiences and emotions. That's always been helpful and find that I'm stronger for it. Writing and being able to express outwardly those things that affect me is what helped me. I talk with the people I trust. Not listening to voices that harm. So kind of moving the people that are toxic out of your life, knowing my strengths and finding partners on my journey who share my faith and values and priorities. And other people said my faith, connecting and bonding with others through shared trauma, and seeing a culturally relevant therapist. And then the last point on this question is reading, being closer to nature by walking and enjoying parks. So there's a variety of ways, and each person has their own kind of way and strategy for how they have dealt with their trauma or abuse in their relationships. So the last question we want to know if people were aware, and this is something that's really, I think, interesting, people are aware of the role that resilience and support relationships offer in terms of countering trauma, which is one of the things that we talk a lot about at CU Tri. And basically, most of the people were aware of that, so I feel like we've done our job in a community educating people about trauma. So we were pleased to see that 29 of the 33 people who responded to this question were aware of the role of resilience and supportive relationships in countering trauma. And last, one other point that someone made on this question, they said trauma never goes away, but the effects can be reduced with support, which I think really speaks to the whole issue. And last but not least, what are you interested in learning about? So we really want to do this to kind of gauge for our community partners and ourselves, what are the areas that are of interest? The top one is having information about how to be a supportive and advocate and ally. And I've been adding advocate, ally, accomplice, and sometimes co-conspirator, because that's some of the language that's out there. So that's the largest one. So we're going to be sending out some resources to folks that sign this up. Also, there was interest in mental health, mental illness. We're going to talk about that. And also trauma and healing, racism and racial. I got one more slide, Tracy, I know. I'm going through. I know Tracy gives you the signal and then you got to hurry up. Anyway, in summary, basically that we were very pleased with the winter community circulation of open wounds. In response to the question, how helpful was the film? As I said, 86% said that they understood trauma, intergenerational trauma extremely, or was very helpful. And going forward, we also had the post-viewing survey, and we found that the areas that, as I mentioned before, in both demand are how to be a supportive advocate, ally, as well as equity and versus equality, to understand those concepts. Also, for anyone who's interested, if you or your organization still wants to see open wounds, it's available for purchase for $3.99, which I don't think is out of the range of what people can afford. So just so you know that it's still available, and I'm not sure, I think maybe United Way would have the resources or find out how to do it, but we'll find out how to get you connected if you're interested. So I'm going to get out of your way.
So thank Joyce Lynn and our Race Relations Subcommittee for sharing the data and the information. You know, one of the things that was really important as she was talking, most of us are in organizations where we're trying to help and support people and connect them. And this information is critical. If you can't understand and learn and pick up on what people have experienced and gone through, you're not going to be successful in being able to change and help and get them to do what you're wanting or what you're trying, how you're trying to support them. So this was really important information I wanted to share, and thank you, Joycelyn, for doing that. Donna, if you want to come up, and so James mentioned a little bit about mental health. We're coming out of COVID. We're going to just stand up here.
I'm not going to do that. We really don't have time for a slideshow for this, so I'm just going to highlight a few things and then invite you to a presentation, if that's okay, because people are leaving and before everybody leaves. My name is Donna Tanner Harold. I'm a licensed clinical professional counselor, and I work at Parkland full-time until next month when I retire. And I'd like to invite you to a presentation. It's entitled Mental Health in the Black Community on Tuesday from 11 to 1. We're not serving lunch at Parkland College in our Union building. You can bring your own if you like, that's fine. But I just want to focus on a couple of things, and I'm very, very pleased that Youth Build incorporated a little focus on mental health, and then Dr. Harden, I think you said something about a mental health focus. And this is National Mental Health Month. And we're hearing a lot, it's almost a buzzword, and I think people don't quite understand the importance, and they just say things sometimes because it sounds good about mental health and mental illness. So a couple of reasons that I think I would like for you to come to this presentation is to learn the difference between mental health and mental illness. They're used interchangeably, and they're not the same at all. We all have a measure of mental health. That's the ability to think clearly, to manage our emotions, to manage stress. And we all get sad from time to time. We all get depressed. We all get anxious. That doesn't mean we're mentally ill. That's a normal reaction to life. So we're going to talk about things like that. There's been an increase in mental health issues in America, especially among young people, especially among young Black people. And for too long, we focused on just preventing suicide. That's important, absolutely important. The second leading cause of death among young Black men ages 15 to 24 is suicide. Among young Black women, 13 to 19, the second leading cause of death is suicide. But we can't just focus on preventing suicide. We need to teach people how to learn to live and to thrive and to have hope. So we're going to talk about those things, and the only other point I'm going to make about this is that we're all concerned about violence, preventing violence, right? But how often do we look a little bit deeper beyond just the violence? In counseling, there's a phrase that we use. When there's anger, they usually have a friend. It can be sadness, it can be grief, it can be a loss of hope. It could be a lot of things. So we have to just stop reducing things down to just what we see and go a little bit beneath and see what's going on. For a lot of young people, they don't have good coping skills, conflict resolution skills. They've lost hope. They're in despair, and despair leads to suicide. So we've got to break that cycle early on in life. Joe Omoasagi, he's a counselor at Parkland. He'll be part of the presentation. I'm on the panel. Joycelyn does way too many things for me to even say exactly what she does, except I know she's retired now. So I do have flyers, and they're in the back. Please pick up one. And again, it's Tuesday, 11 to 1 at Parkland in our Union building. The best place to park would be probably parking lot B. And this building is all glass, so it's easy to see. Please come out and join us. And I think, are there any questions for me? That's the reason to come. I had a nice slideshow. Well, it wasn't great, but it was okay. So, Joe, it's not the slideshow, it's what you do with it. Are there any questions or comments for me? I know that was quick, but it's getting late. Anybody? In our student union building. And it's one big building. It's in the cafeteria, so you'll see it. But we'll have greeters to greet you as you come in. Is that it?
All right, Let's thank Donna and the work. So we're going to ask you to give us about 5 or 10 more minutes. We got our friends here from Promise Healthcare, and we want to get an update on what's happening with this very, 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 very important organization. So Shay's going to start us up.
Thank you very much. I will try to I'll go through the highlights, but we do have some really important information that I'd like to share, especially towards this topic in the community. And it's really good to see some of you again. It's been, 3 hours? So it's great. So this is just our mission statement. I'm going to move through. We have a wonderful history. If you don't know it, the Museum of the Grand Prairie actually has a wonderful store of information, but Frances Nelson was a significant figure. She opened her home to African American children in need, and then it progresses into what we have now, or at least in 2012, Promise Healthcare. And I don't know. Anyway, so that's good news. Okay. So bringing us up to now real quick, 2020, I was hired. I had the pleasure of starting on January 20th of 2020, which is pretty significant for me anyway, right before COVID. We had some retirements post-COVID, so Jennifer Henry is our new executive director. Rochelle came on board. Really importantly, we established a patient call center so that we could answer more of the calls and be more responsive to patients. And then we did a clinic remodel of the interior, which has gone over very well with patients. We have a new interim CFO. Lisa joined us in 2022. And then when we have a new medical director, Melanie Richardson. We have a board, governor board. Oh, I've got copies of this in the back too. So if I skip over them, it's only in the interest of time. Looking to the future, we've got a lot on our plate coming up, which we're excited about. We're adding some dental operatories, adding to some of our school-based programs, electronic medical record update, and we're looking at some brand refreshing, signage and different things to update. Real quick, the vital healthcare role we play, quite a bit of our patients are under the poverty level. So, and we do treat all patients regardless of ability to pay, but we do take most insurance, Medicare, Medicaid as well. This is our family of clinics. Just a real quick snapshot of all of our services and clinics at our different locations. There is some cross over them too. The other great thing is we have behavioral opportunities at our bilingual staff as well. Most of our staff majority of our staff is bilingual, primarily Spanish, but we do have some French. I'm going to skip through some of these detailed services. Mental health, I just want to bring up real quick. We do have great access to psychiatrists. We have 3 adult psychiatrists, and we can get patients in fairly quickly, pretty quickly. And then we also have a 340B program. That's a medication assistance program for folks that, if you know anything about it, psychiatric medications can be very expensive, probably prohibitively. And this program helps provide affordable access. Just an overall overview of our other patient services. This is one I did want to hit on this really quick. We call them enabling services. So something that we brought on post-COVID, and that's what Melissa, Rochelle, and Lisa also participate in. We help people enroll in Marketplace and find other financial help for healthcare treatment. We've been connecting them to rental and utility assistance. You can read it up there. The Safe Link is an attachment to help people get wireless cell phones with discounts, so they have that access. The affordable connectivity is broadband access. And of course, ongoing COVID-19 education. And then, again, I guess I'm emphasizing rental and utility assistance. And most of that staff is also bilingual. This is just a list of all of our some of our current collaborations, but we are always seeking more opportunities to collaborate, working in the community. A lot of our board members are also some of the current collaborations we have. Real quick, last one. Violence is a public health issue. So we do talk about access to healthcare and also healthcare literacy. and which means how do they access the information, how can they navigate the system. So we were really proud of, as a community health center, that we can kind of provide these services and connect them, and that how is one way we feel our role in helping the community address violence, and some of the other goals is to help with healthcare literacy and then access to healthcare, especially psychiatric coverage. And then any questions, there's our contact information. And again, I did leave copies of this presentation in the back. And that was my real quick 3-minute overview. But I do see we have questions too. So. I thought it might be many, yeah.
One of the you've given out a lot of good information, and as a board member of the Francis Nelson Promise Healthcare, I think that the organization can do a better job setting up tables for information in the community when we're having Champaign-Urbana Day or any activities out at Douglas Park, because I have been told that a lot of people do not know about Promise Francis Nelson. And to keep Francis Nelson's name alive, you need to have some type of celebrations to let people know where it started. So that community connection, getting out there. If you got your executive director, they need to be seen and heard and be talking to people so that Black people will know that that service is there and what's free and what's not. Thank you so much.
No, absolutely. And I'm happy to say that we are actively starting to re-engage and find events, community events. We want to attend and find out as many as we can. So to that point, absolutely want to start being back out in the community again post-COVID. So thank you for that, and I can assure you we're actively working on that, the people in the room here, as well as other leadership. So thank you for that, Minnie.
So thank you. It's part of what we wanted to do today was get this information out. I knew they were doing great things and rebranding and rebuilding, and so we wanted to share that with you today. You guys can come back anytime you want. I'll give you more time, make you first on the agenda so we don't have to rush through. So we have our Walk as One event tomorrow. We have our discussion of mental health next week out at Parkland, 17th, Tuesday. And just, you know, I hope when we leave these meetings, we are reinvigorated and recharged on just how much positive and good we have happening in our community. We have a great space and a great community, and we have to fight to make it be the best that it can be. So thank you for all that you do in the community to make our community be the best place it can be. Thanks for coming each month to talk about how we partner and learn more that's happening. So remember, we're in Urbana next month. June and July is in Urbana at the Radisson Hotel in Killarney. So peace and love to you, and thank you for coming out.